What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, thanks for pressing play. Today we are going to be talking about something that has been recommended a bunch on my channel, or should I say asked for a bunch, because you guys know I am a very firm believer in XPEL, the paint protection film, the ceramic coating, the window tint, all of it. But you want to know, is it worth it? How's it hold up? We're going to talk about all of it right now. So we are here at Blackout Tinting. We're here with the guy you're going to see when you walk in the door. This is Jimmy. I've asked him to kind of run down for us what the XPEL paint protection film thing is going to look like for a normal person walking in off the street. How much would they pay for a full wrap on a Corvette?
If you're looking for a full wrap, you're looking at $6,500, and that's going to protect all your painted surfaces from rock damages and anything like that.
So if all you want to do is a paint protection film install, which is just going to protect the scratches and everything at $6,500, what about if you want a ceramic coat over top of that?
We could ceramic coat it for $800. Since there's no paint polishing in the process of that, then we're just going over a wrap. It's going to be $800.
Why would someone choose to get paint protection film?
Protect it from daily driving. Most of the, especially with the lower cars and the way they're making cars with the water back ends and stuff like that now, just kicking up rocks and just chewing up rocker panels and the whole front just from daily driving just gets beat up really hard. So protect your paint.
All right, stepping back into the workshop here, we're here with Aaron. He is the lead install tech, or technically, what, the manager of the PPF realm?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on paint protection film? Obviously you work with it every day. How do you feel about it?
I mean, obviously it's my job to put on paint protection film, but as far as the product itself, you can't get anything better to actually protect your paint.
You would say this is a way to basically drive your car and not feel like you're destroying it every time you take it out of the garage?
Absolutely. Especially for me, I was recently looking for a new Camaro. I couldn't get brand new, so I settled with used. I was really searching for a Camaro that had paint protection film on it because I know how well it works. So I wanted the paint to be in as good a shape as possible. If it doesn't have paint protection film, it's gonna get beat up. And honestly, I think that brings the value of the car down, especially if you're picky like me. It makes a big difference on how your car looks and how it's going to look over time.
All right, so we are back from Blackout Tinting, and I like to go up there and have them tell you a little bit about the product because, number one, they're the professionals. They're the ones that deal with it every single day. Even though I am pretty active in it myself, they still have more of a background in it. So hearing it from the pros or hearing it from the people that do it every day is always a benefit, in my opinion. Anyway, we are here now with the car, and we're going to kind of go over this, and I'm going to show you the couple spots that have protected the paint but have gotten beat up a little bit, because this is a real world usage kind of thing. This is what your car would look like after a year, after about 6,000 miles, if you drive your car the way I do, which admittedly is pretty rough, but that's what these cars are built for. So let's go over it. The C8Z06 and my C7ZR1, they are both fully protected. My Ram TRX is fully protected, and actually all three of the cars that I just talked about are actually protected with the 10 mil option, which is the thicker XPEL. We're going to talk about all of that in a second. But first, let's go over this car and show you how it's held up in the year. We can go over the entire car, and I can actually tell you right off the bat, because I wash this thing all the time, I know exactly where all the marks are. I will tell you without a doubt, there is 3. In the year that I've owned this car, there are 3 marks on this XPEL that have stopped a rock chip from hitting the paint. But it does affect the film. So let's go around to the front of the car where we can see the first 2. Now, believe it or not, these 2 actually came from one of my track days that I had with the car, and it's up on the hood. So both of them are actually up here on the hood, and they're not super easy to see. You got to kind of know what you're looking for. Right there they are, right there. This is going to be hard to show on camera. There's 2 of them right there. So there's one right there and one right there. You can actually see the rock kind of hit and skipped. So anyway, other than those 2 marks on the hood, the only other mark was actually from something that I did. Something that me and David and Brandon did at the National Corvette Museum Bash. We actually opened up this hatch into a pop-up tent, and when we did it, it actually left a mark on the back hatch here. I'm going to show you now. If we open this up, you'll be able to see it right here. See if I can get that to focus. Right there. Oop. You can see it kind of got that edge right there, and it messed up the XPEL. It's not anything serious. You can barely see it, but it is there. And yeah, I wanted to point out my particular usage example here, and that's it. Those are the marks. So that is after 1 year, 6,000 miles, and 2 track days. Now, if your mileage is like mine, you are not going to have any issues with XPEL. Now, I did obviously mention earlier that my XPEL is the XPEL 10 mil. Let's go over all the differences. So for any of you who don't know, I actually own a shop in Florida. So in South Florida, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale area, I am the co-owner of the Blackout Tinting shop down there. So I do have a good bit of knowledge when it comes to the XPEL products. With that said, let's go over everything here because you're going to get asked this on day one when you want to get your car protected. And of course, I highly recommend that you do. As you can see with my car, it has held up very well over the last year, and I can't say the same for this car if it hadn't been XPEL paint protected, because the rear quarters right in this area here are very known to get just destroyed with rocks from the front tires. Now, the rock guards from ACS Composite definitely help in this situation, but it's not a guaranteed 100% stoppage of rocks. So the best way to do this would be to get the XPEL paint protection film and the ACS Composite rock guards. I know it's a lot of money. Both of these products are expensive, don't get me wrong. I know these are expensive products, but I'm here to tell you why they're worth it. So we already looked over my car, 1 year worth of usage, 6,000 miles worth of usage, 3 chips, and only 2 of those are from rocks. So I can tell you without a doubt, I have definitely been pelted with more than 2 rocks. The fact that only 2 of them really made a mark on that hood is pretty impressive. So you just got your brand new C8 Corvette, the Z06, Stingray, E-Ray, whatever it is, you got a brand new Corvette, and you're asking yourself, I really want to get this thing protected, but I don't know what the products are. I don't know what to ask for. I'm going to tell you now. So if you want your car to be glossy like mine is, you're going to go in and you're going to request XPEL Ultimate Plus. Now, the XPEL Ultimate Plus is a clear film. Once it's installed, it's basically an invisible film if it's done right. If you plan on just weekend driving your car or putting around town, not doing any serious track driving or anything, your normal XPEL Ultimate Plus film is absolutely fine. That's going to come in the 8 mil option, which is the standard option. If you don't request anything else, that's what you're going to get. If you're more of a track goer, somebody who spends a lot of time on the track, someone who spends a lot of time, we'll say, spiritedly driving, then you're going to maybe want to opt for the 10 mil option, which is a thicker option, but still the same kind of clear XPEL install. My car behind me, as well as my TRX I showed earlier, those are both 10 mil options because the TRX will be taken off-road eventually. And once it gets off-road, yeah, they can get beat up pretty easily, so I went with 10 mil on that as well. The cost difference between those two is right around $1,200. So if you want the thicker film, it's going to be about a $1,200 increase. These prices are our prices. So when I quote you a $6,500 full wrap with a $1,200 upcharge for 10 mil, be aware that that is on the lower end. So if you live in California, for example, and you go to the A shops out there, they're typically between 10 and 12 grand for a wrap. Yeah, they're a lot more expensive. So keep in mind that this is really more so for the area that I live in, which is of course Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh, as well as our shop obviously in Florida, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. Now, moving on, what if you want your car to look more like my red Stingray used to look? Yeah, I put an XPEL film on that as well, but what was that? Why did that look so different? Well, that was our XPEL Stealth. So what that is it's going to offer the same kind of protection, only it's going to give you a satin finish. It's not optically clear the way XPEL Ultimate Plus is. Now, as of right now, XPEL Stealth only comes in the 8 mil option, so if you want to go with a thicker film, you kind of only have one choice. The Stealth is not available yet in the thicker 10 mil film. From what I understand though, that is something that's coming. So if you want to change the look of your car, the XPEL Stealth is the option for you. Now, both of these films will protect your car the same exact way. Like I said, they're installed pretty much identically. With Stealth, the installer has to be a little bit more picky to get the edges lined up absolutely perfectly, or else you're going to see the gloss color of your car actually showing through. But for the most part, the install process is the same. Now, on top of both of these films, you can install XPEL Fusion, which is XPEL's ceramic coating. We now have 2 different versions of this as well. We have the XPEL Fusion Plus, which is a 4-year coating, or you can go with the new coating, which is the XPEL Fusion Plus Premium. Yeah, the naming scheme gets pretty weird, but that's an 8-year coating. So ultimately, if you go into your detail shop and say, hey, you know what, I want the XPEL Ultimate Plus film with the 8-year coating, they're going to know what you're talking about. You don't necessarily have to go in there and name drop a bunch of stuff, but just so you understand the differences between the films, the differences between the coatings. Now, moving on to the window tint. There's a couple different lines of window tint as well. So XPEL CS is the entry level, and it is going to be our carbon-based film, which is just going to, really, it's just going to change the color of your windows. If you want a darker window, XPEL CS will do it for you. If you live in the southern states, or even in Pennsylvania, honestly, and you want to have that heat rejection option, kind of keep the cabin of your car a little bit cooler, keep the UV rays off your dashboard for premature failure of your leather, you're going to go with one of the upper lines of tint, which is going to be our XPEL XR Plus. Now, that tint is obviously more expensive. As you move up the line of anything, it gets more expensive. But this is going to block UV rays to prevent premature wearing of your leather and your dashboard and all that stuff. It's also going to block the majority of the UV/heat from coming into the car. So if you do all of the windows and the windshield, and if you have a sunroof, if you do all of those things, you are going to note a much lower interior temperature than if you hadn't done anything. Blackout Tinting in Latrobe, Pennsylvania actually did a test with my Colorado ZR2 I used to have, as well as my friend's Colorado ZR2. We had the exact same trucks. They were both black. They parked them out front. One had XPEL XR Plus on it, the other one had nothing on it. And at one point they noted a temperature difference inside the truck of almost 40 degrees. So the stuff really does work. It really does help with at least slowing down the wear or the damage of the UV rays on your interior leather. It is really an awesome product. I have it on every one of my cars again. I always use the XR Plus tint because it's going to protect. And even though Pennsylvania doesn't get super hot, during the summer times, it gets hot enough here. And I want to keep that heat out of the cars, especially since my cars are black. Now, the ultimate question here is XPEL worth it? I would say without a doubt, 100%, yes, it's worth it. The biggest reason I say that is because when I first bought my C7 Corvette ZR1, I was afraid to drive it. I spent so much money on it. It was more money than I'd ever spent on a car in my entire life. And I was afraid to take it out of the garage. Every time I did, every single rock chip or every time I would hear gravel getting kicked up on it, I felt, well, I'm devaluing this thing. Like, what am I doing? And then I made a phone call, a very important phone call, to Josh at Blackout Tinting. And that was my first venture into paint protection film. Him and I talked on the phone, and he told me all of the selling points of XPEL and why I should definitely consider it on a $150,000 car. So I took it up to him, and I had just the front end and the rockers done because those were the high impact areas. And I was pretty happy with that for a little while. It gave me a sense of inner peace, we'll say, whenever I took the car out of the garage, because I knew now I wasn't really destroying it. Any bugs or any rocks that flew up in the front, the film was going to protect. Fast forward about a month after that, and I was washing my car. And you guys have seen my wash videos in the past. You know that I do all the right things. I have a 2-bucket method, sometimes even a 3-bucket method. I spray foam the car. I load the buckets up with soap. There is no reason at all that anything should ever get scratched. And while I was washing the back hatch of the car, as I glided the microfiber wash mitt through the soap, I was looking closer and going like this, and I realized I was putting tiny micro scratches into the hatch of the ZR1, and that was it for me. I was like, okay, I'm getting this thing fully protected, because another huge selling point of the XPEL film is the fact that it self-heals. On a black car especially, you park it out in the sun, any scratches you do get in the film, they literally disappear right in front of your eyes. It is absolutely incredible the way it works. It's almost like magic. I've actually witnessed it on this car, and I really should have filmed it whenever I was doing it, but I put the black or stealth badges on the C8 Z06 behind me, and in order to do so, I had to take off the stock badging. And as I was taking that off, you have to scrub off the double-sided tape on the back side. So some of it gets left in the car, you got to scrub it off. And as I'm scrubbing it off, of course, you're just scratching everything up. I mean, it looked like a murder after I was done there. I mean, there's scratches everywhere, and I was like, wow. I guess this is a good test to see if this stuff works. So I grabbed my heat gun and I went at it, maybe 20 seconds. Every scratch is gone. So it is incredible the way it works. But after I went up to Josh for the last time and got all of the XPEL put on the car, I started talking a lot about it on YouTube and found that a lot of people on here are super interested in it, but they don't necessarily know the details of it. And that's what I'm here to do today. I wanted to tell you all the details about anything you might want to know on the film. And I think I pretty much covered everything, all the selling points, my 1 year experience with it, and the fact that it's holding up very well, and of course holding up much better than the paint would have. As time went on, I got more and more and more things on my C7ZR1 XPEL, and as time went on even further, I realized more and more that you can XPEL almost anything, and the things that you XPEL last longer. They look better for much longer. So I became a gigantic fan, a gigantic believer in this film within the first 6 months of owning a car that had it on there. So from there forward, Josh and I decided to go into business together because I am an avid believer of this stuff. I'm not just jumping into something to make some money. I am here because this product works and it's on every one of my cars. So you could tell without a doubt, if I didn't believe in this stuff, I would not have it on my car. I mean, it's that simple. But any of you out there who have used it in the past, you should know it is the real deal. It will protect your car. And when you spend $150,000 to $180,000 on a car like this, why wouldn't you want to protect it? Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully I answered some of your questions about the film. If you liked what you saw, please smash the thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content so we can keep doing this kind of stuff for you. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I will definitely get an answer for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're gonna have loads of content like this coming you're not gonna want to miss. And as always, guys, stay obsessed.